Lord, the light of your love is shining in the midst of the darkness shining. Jesus, light of the world, shine upon us. Set us free by the truth you now bring us. Shine on me. Shine on me. Shine, Jesus, shine. Fill this land with the Father's glory. Blaze, Spirit, blaze. Set our hearts on fire. Flow, river, flow. Flood the nations with grace and mercy. Send forth your word, Lord, and let there be light.
Good morning and welcome to Let the Bible Speak. My name is Alex Meredith. I'm a minister for the Marquette Church of Christ here in the Central UP. Thank you so much for joining me on the program today. We are continuing and really are almost finished with this series we've been on for several weeks now called The Questions of Jesus. We're looking at some of the critical questions Jesus asked over the course of his ministry. And I actually want to start today not with the question immediately. I want to start by reading to you the beginning of this story, which is a story of a really remarkable friendship that, of course, begins with a fishing trip. So, Luke chapter 5, starting in verse 1, and really we're going to be focusing on a relationship between Jesus and one of his disciples named Peter. And just so you know, at the very beginning of the Gospels, Peter is referred to as Simon. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So Jesus and Simon. So what's going on here, by the way, is Jesus is speaking by the Sea of Galilee. In this text, at least in the ESV, it says that Jesus is speaking by the Lake of Gennesaret. That's just another name for the Sea of Galilee there in the northern portion on the top of the Jordan River. So, Luke chapter 5, verse 1, listen to this. On one occasion, while the crowd was pressing in on him to hear the word of God, he was standing by the Lake of Gennesaret, and he saw two boats by the lake, but the fishermen had gone out of them and were washing their nets. Getting into one of the boats, which was Simon's, he asked him to put out a little from the land. And he sat down and taught the people from the boat. And when he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch." And Simon answered, "Master, we toiled all night and took nothing. But at your word, I will let down the nets." And when they had done this, they enclosed a large number of fish, and their nets were breaking. They signaled to their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both the boats so that they began to sink. But when Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, "Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Lord." For he and all who were with him were astonished at the catch of fish that they had taken. And so also were James and John, sons of Zebedee, who were partners with Simon. And Jesus said to Simon, "Do not be afraid. From now on, you will be catching men." And when they had brought their boats to land, they left everything and followed him. And so you have the beginning of an incredible journey and an enduring friendship, not just between Jesus and Simon, also Peter, but also James and John, the sons of Zebedee. Now, what do we know about Simon? What do we know about Simon, in particular with regards to his relationship with Jesus? Well, first of all, we know that he is one of Jesus' first disciples. If you look at the Gospels chronologically, Matthew chapter 4, Mark chapter 1, Luke chapter 5, John chapter 1, Peter, it seems, is one of the first, if not the first, regular disciple that is accompanying Jesus. So we know that in John chapter 1, verse 42, very early on, Simon is given this new name, Cephas, Peter, which is the Greek name for rock, if we translate it even farther. Which tells you already that obviously Peter's role in the future of what Jesus is trying to do and accomplish in the world, Peter's going to play a pretty big role in that, right? He's going to be really important, and we see that fleshed out as the New Testament progresses well after Jesus' death and resurrection. We know that Peter ends up as an elder in the church. We know that he's very involved in the workings of the church, particularly in Jerusalem, and we believe that he was faithful to the very end. And so he's going to play this big role. And it all started with that story, the little fishing trip that we saw there. He's also the first disciple to recognize Jesus' true identity. So people all throughout Jesus' ministry were trying to figure out, who is this? Why is he doing this? Why is he able to do the things that he can do? And Peter's the first one to really get it, even though he didn't totally get it. He's the one who says, and I believe it's in Luke chapter 9, verse 20, that's the most fleshed out version of this. It says, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Now, does Peter really understand what that means fully? Well, not exactly, because he's also trying to keep Jesus from going to the cross and everything else. Nobody quite gets it until everything's said and done with. But Peter's the one who seems to get it the most, in any case. Now, along with James and John, Peter comprised what you might call the sort of inner circle of Jesus. These are the three people who witnessed the transfiguration as Jesus and Peter, James, and John went up to this mountain. We saw Jesus and his appearance transfigured before them. He was suddenly in these robes that were just dazzling white, and then appeared Moses and Elijah alongside him. We know that these three were with Jesus in one of the most vulnerable, intimate times in Jesus' life as he went to the Garden of Gethsemane to pray. Peter, James, and John were there with him. So Peter plays a really important role in Jesus' ministry, but I think more than that, you could say that he was Jesus' friend, right? Which makes this surprising when we fast forward a few years. In John chapter 18, we're going to start reading in verse 15. This is after Jesus' arrest. Jesus has just been arrested. He's being brought by some of the Jewish officials into this sort of court area where he's being questioned, really interrogated, and eventually he's going to be passed along to the Romans and crucified. So listen to what happens here. You have this beautiful relationship form over the course of 3 years, and, well, this is how Peter deals with it towards the end. Simon Peter followed Jesus, and so did another disciple. That's probably referring to John here, by the way. Since that disciple was known to the high priest, he entered with Jesus into the courtyard of the high priest. But Peter stood outside at the door. So the other disciple, who was known to the high priest, went out and spoke to the servant girl who kept watch at the door, and brought Peter in. The servant girl at the door said to Peter, "You also are not one of this man's disciples, are you?" He said, "I am not." Now the servants and officers had made a charcoal fire because it was cold, and they were standing and warming themselves. Peter also was with them, standing and warming himself. And now we go into verse 25. Now Simon Peter was standing and warming himself, so they said to him, "You also are not one of his disciples, are you?" He denied it and said, "I am not." One of the servants of the high priest, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off, we talked about that a couple weeks ago, he asked, "Did I not see you in the garden with him?" Peter again denied it, and at once, just as Jesus had prophesied, by the way, the rooster crowed. I'm reminded of this passage in Luke chapter 9, verse 26, where Jesus says, "For whoever is ashamed of me and of my words, of him will the Son of Man be ashamed when he comes in his glory." The section we skipped, John 18, verses 19 through 24, in that section, it depicts Jesus being interrogated by these officials and, being tortured and beaten and everything else and mocked, ridiculed. I think all of that is to just reiterate how much of a betrayal this is. Jesus is all alone now, just absolutely, totally alone. Not only have the Jewish officials turned against him, that's kind of been the case for a while. But now his own friends have turned against him. In the moment when he needs them the most, Peter acts like he doesn't even know the guy. So you see the severity of Peter's betrayal, and you think, well, there's no coming back from that, right? You totally dissociated yourself from anything to do with Jesus. Well, Peter betrays Jesus, acts like he doesn't know him. Jesus goes on to be crucified. Then we have this miraculous story of the resurrection, following which Jesus begins to appear somewhat sporadically to some of his disciples. And this is what we read. And we're going to start in John chapter 21, starting in verse 2. So John chapter 21, starting in verse 2. Simon Peter, Thomas, called the twin, Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, these are all disciples of Jesus, and two other of his disciples were together. Simon Peter said to them, I'm going fishing. They said to him, we will go with you. They went out and got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. Just as day was breaking, Jesus stood on the shore. Sound familiar yet? Yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to them, children, do you have any fish? They answered him, no. He said to them, cast the net on the right side of the boat, and you will find some. So they cast it, and now they were not able to haul it in because of the quantity of fish. Sound familiar? Then, that disciple whom Jesus loved, therefore, said to Peter, it is the Lord. When Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put on his outer garment, for he was stripped for work, and threw himself into the sea. The other disciples came into the boat, dragged a net full of fish, for they were not far from the land, but about 100 yards off. When they got out on land, they saw a charcoal fire in place. Sound familiar? With fish laid out on it, and bread. Jesus said to them, bring some of the fish that you have just caught. So Simon Peter went aboard and hauled the net ashore, full of large fish, 153 of them. And although there were so many, the net was not torn. Jesus said to them, come and have breakfast. Now none of the disciples dared ask him, who are you? They knew it was the Lord. Jesus came and took the bread and gave it to them, and so with the fish. This was now the third time that Jesus was revealed to the disciples after he was raised from the dead. When they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon? Now notice, John is referring to Peter by the name Simon Peter. Both the names, the old name and the new name kind of combined. But Jesus just says Simon. It's almost as if, Peter's trying to return to his old life. He's trying to act like nothing ever happened, right? Like, I'm just going to go back to fishing just like the way things were. He was kind of just dumbstruck about what had just happened and didn't really know what to do or where to go or anything. It's like he had lost the sense of who he was. So Jesus is making him earn his name back here. So he says, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, feed my lambs. He said to him a second time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He said to him, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. He said to him, tend my sheep. He said to him a third time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was grieved because he said to him a third time, do you love me? And he said to him, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. Jesus said to him, feed my sheep. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were young, you used to dress yourself and walk wherever you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and another will dress you, and carry you where you do not want to go. This he said to show by what kind of death he was to glorify God. And after saying this, he said to him, follow me. Peter would have the opportunity pretty soon to prove just how much he loved Jesus. We saw it referenced here in verses 18 and 19. There's going to be a day when somebody's going to stretch out your hands and lead you to this place you do not want to go. Peter actually refers to this himself in one of his letters, 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 14. He talks about how his death, it seems to him, is imminent. Now, it's believed, according to what historical record we do have, some people say that and this isn't recorded in the scriptures, this is just what we sort of hearsay. It's believed that Jesus was crucified, I believe, if I remember correctly, in Rome. Some people think that he was crucified upside down even. That's why you have the upside down cross called the Petrine cross. Now, one way or another, we know that Peter was going to suffer for the sake of following Jesus. And that's what he's pointing out here. So he's going to have the opportunity to prove, you say that you love me, but what you did a little while ago didn't show me that you loved me, so you're going to have the chance to prove it. Now, before I move too much farther, I know that with this passage, every time this passage comes up, people try to make a big deal about how it says, if you look at all the do you love me, do you love me, do you love me, yes, I love you, yes, I love you, yes, I love you. If you look at Jesus' question and Peter's response, you have these two different words that are used for love. One is agapao and the other is phileo. Sometimes we talk about agape love or phileo love. As far as I can tell, these words, if you look at the New Testament concordance, these words are virtually synonyms. They're used sort of interchangeably for the same kinds of things. And I would also point out that this conversation was almost certainly not originally in Greek. So the use of these two different Greek words could be totally arbitrary. Could there be more to it? Maybe. I don't want to spend too much time reading too much into that. The point of the story here is it's a reversal of Peter's denial. Peter denied Jesus 3 times next to a charcoal fire. And here, next to a charcoal fire, Jesus is asking Peter to affirm 3 times in a row, do you really love me? So he's reinstated as a disciple. He's not returning to his old life. And this relationship between he and Jesus is restored. Now, a lot of times at the Marquette Church, one of the things that I talk about with regards to Scripture is that Scripture is really an invitation to find yourself in the story. Sometimes you can relate to the hero in the story. Oftentimes, actually, you can relate to the villain. You can see how you yourself, as much pride as you have, as perfect as you think you are, you too are gullible and, culpable to these kind of mistakes that other people make. But if we put ourselves into Peter's shoes here, I think there are a couple of relatable things to be noted. First of all, there's this message embedded in this story, which is that no matter how badly you've messed up, which, Peter messed up pretty badly. Just outright, utterly denied even knowing Jesus, having any association with him. We would all love to think, if my life were on the line and somebody asked me if I was a Christian, that I'd say, yes, absolutely. Well, you don't really know how you would respond unless you actually find yourself in that scenario. And, Peter probably thought his life might have been on the line. Jesus is here about to be crucified, and now he's being asked if he has any association with him. And, well, Peter said no. No matter how badly we mess up, reconciliation is always possible. And that's a great thing to see here. Even if you mess up as badly as Peter, reconciliation, the restoration of that relationship is always possible. I don't care how far off you think you've gotten. It doesn't matter how bad a sinner you think you are, or how much how much you've strayed from what you knew once as a child. You can come back, and God will welcome you back with open arms. Here's the second part of this, though, here. We see that we're called to demonstrate our love through our actions. You heard what Jesus said to Peter. You love me? Okay, well, feed my lambs, tend my sheep, feed my sheep. You love me? Prove it. Show me. That's the question that we're talking about today. From John chapter 21, verse 17. Do you love me? And that's such an interesting question for Jesus to ask. You would think after 3 years together, it'd be pretty obvious that Peter loved Jesus. For one thing, the question itself supposes that the integrity of the relationship is in question, right? Isn't love normally pretty obvious? There's a Broadway musical that was written back in 1964, or I should say there were these stories that were written back in the 1900s, this series of short stories about life near Kiev, Ukraine. These short stories were written down around the 1900 turn of the century period, and in 1964 there was a Broadway musical, Fiddler on the Roof, that was produced. There was a film later in 1972 that was based on the same play, but it was a series of Yiddish short stories about that kind of life and that period. And the story follows this couple and their family. You have a husband, Tevi, and this wife named Goldie. And Tevi and Goldie are married. They've been married for some time now. And it's kind of funny, the marriage was actually a financial arrangement. So they didn't get married for romance per se. They got married because they were told to get married, and they didn't even see each other until each other's wedding day, their wedding day. So they sing this song during the musical called "Do You Love Me?" I want to read this to you. I think it demonstrates this rather well. So it starts with the husband, Tevi. Do you love me? Do I what? Do you love me? Do I love you? With our daughters getting married and there's trouble in the town, you're upset, you're worn out. Go inside, lie down. Maybe it's indigestion. Goldie, I'm asking you a question. Do you love me? You're a fool. I know, but do you love me? Do I love you? For 25 years, I've washed your clothes, cooked your meals, cleaned your house, given you children, milked the cow, and after 25 years, why talk about love right now? Goldie, the first time I met you was on our wedding day. I was scared. I was shy. I was nervous. So was I. But my father and my mother said we'd learn to love each other, and now I'm asking, Goldie, do you love me? I'm your wife. I know, but do you love me? Do I love him? For 25 years, I've lived with him, fought him, starved with him. 25 years, my bed is his. If that's not love, what is? Then you love me? I suppose I do. Well, then I suppose I love you too. There is a husband and a wife in a bit of a heated argument sitting in their living room. The wife had just discovered evidence of the husband's infidelity. And there was a lot of yelling, there was a lot of crying, and at one point the wife tearfully looks over at the husband and says, "Did you ever really love me?" There is an older couple, both of them well into their 80s, and for the last 5 years the wife tragically was battling Alzheimer's. And as she was battling Alzheimer's, her memory faded more and more, and it got to the point where towards the end of this period she was largely unresponsive. She hardly ever really understood who he was. She was living in this memory care facility, and he was trying to go as much as he could every day, if possible, to spend as much time as possible with her, to take care of her, to be with her, to just to talk with her, to keep her company. And it was draining. It was tiring and exhausting. And at one point, the husband sort of mumbles under his breath, looking over at his wife, and says, "Do you still love me?" There's a family, a rather young family, a husband and a wife. They had one son biologically that was 8 years old, and they had this 5-year-old child come into their home through foster care. And as they were caring for this child, the court cases surrounding this child and his biological family were proceeding, and it ended up that he was not going to return to his biological family, and they were having to decide, where is this child going to stay? And so the foster family was given the option to adopt this foster son. Well, they were in a bit of a rough spot because their older biological son was high special needs. The wife was beginning to have some really serious medical problems that was making it very difficult for them to carry for the two kids. And they ended up ultimately deciding, I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. And so they sit down and have a conversation with this 5-year-old boy who only understands so much, But he understood enough to know that they weren't going to be adopting him, and he was going to be moving to another home. And so he looks up to these parents and he asks the question, "Don't you love me?" Love is never a given in a relationship. And titles don't mean much, you know. You can have the title of husband, of wife, you can have the title of father and mother, you can have whatever title you want. But if that love isn't proven and demonstrated by your actions, what you say and what you say you feel towards another person doesn't mean anything. I think about this passage in Matthew chapter 7. Not everyone who says to me, "Lord, Lord," will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. On that day, many will say to me, "Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and do many mighty works in your name?" And then I will declare to them, "I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness." You can't just call yourself a Christian. You've got to live like it. So we think about this question, do you love me? What you realize is that Christianity, it's not a formula. It's a relationship. In 313 AD, Emperor Constantine, with the rise of Christianity in the Roman Empire, he issued the Edict of Milan, which essentially made Christianity tolerated in the Roman Empire. It made it to where people weren't supposed to, unjustly persecute Christians, essentially. Later on, in 380 AD, Theodosius I issued the Edict of Thessalonica. And what this did is this made Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire. And at this point, you had Roman officials going around to all these towns saying, "Hey, you're Christian now. Let's get all of you baptized." And pretty much forced baptism on people. And what happened at that point is that you had, this concept of a personal relationship with God and with Jesus was then replaced by this extremely mechanical relationship with the church, which essentially became almost this quasi-political institution. And I think the effects of that are something that we're still wrestling with today. But when you look at Christianity and what it's supposed to be, and what it was between Jesus and Peter, I think one of the things you see quite clearly, it's not a mechanism. It's not a mechanical switch that you can just turn off and on. It's not a matter of checking off the boxes. It is a relationship. That has some pretty heavy implications. Maybe you haven't been the best friend lately. Maybe you're looking for how you might go about rectifying that. I don't know where you're at in that relationship, because the thing with relationships is it depends on where you are and what you've done and your experience and everything. But maybe today is a day when you take a second to evaluate the relationship that you have with God, with Jesus. And if there's anything along the way that I or we can do to help you, reach out. You can find information about our ministry and about the local churches on letthebiblespeak.net. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me on the program. I hope you have a great week.
The Father's glory blaze, Spirit blaze, set our hearts on fire. Flow, river flow, flood the nations with grace and mercy. Send